Let's go into what is POTS, right? POTS, long haul dysautonomia. And I want to point out a couple things, which is, do you know if you actually have POTS? And did you know that 95% of the people I work with don't ever get the diagnosis? And some of them may have POTS as a diagnosis, or they may have dysautonomia, or some people may have long haul. And I want to point out something there about this. I mean, and type in chat, have you had any of these diagnoses given to you? And because I'm going to tell you, 95% of people I work with the symptoms I'm about to describe don't even have any of these three diagnoses. And in fact, just so you guys know, these diagnoses are actually a description of the symptoms. It doesn't tell you anything about what causes them. So yeah, let's take a look, right? I'm going to go through, a couple things. So when you look at what's POTS, the diagnostic, one of them criteria is that your heart rate increases 30 beats per minute when you change positions. It's in the name, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. You change your position, your heart rate changes, right? That's just a description of a symptom. Okay. Other symptoms, and start checking the checklist on your own list and start typing in some of the symptoms you've had, right? And here's the thing. If your heart rate doesn't increase by 30, increases by 29, you don't fulfill the criteria, right? But what about all these other symptoms? What about low heart rate? What about the racing, waking up with racing thoughts and the anxiety, right? There's dizziness. There's the fatigue, the nausea, the brain fog. And how many people you weren't an anxious person before, you didn't have ADD before, but now you have all these symptoms, right? The average age of onset for POTS, just to wrap some numbers around this, is 14 to 25 years old, as you're going to see in this panel we're going to be bringing up, right? And the average delay in diagnosis is, I'm going to tell you, 5 to 6 years. Who wants some data here? Okay. I want to show you something. Looking at a timeline, look at what happened. The top line, yellow line, is POTS cases per million. And on the bottom is COVID, long haul COVID. And do you notice something similar about these two lines? Let's take a look at this. Look at the boom that happened in 2020. It took off. So is POTS a random heart problem that belongs to a cardiologist's office? What happened with long haul right there in 2020? Boom, it was a trigger event for a lot of people. So there's got to be more to POTS than, it's just a cardiologist's heart medication problem, right? Because how many of you guys have been diagnosed, quote unquote, or haven't diagnosed, been sent to the cardiologist, told you either qualified or didn't qualify for POTS, and then given medications, heart medications that don't work or made you worse? This is going to be a really common experience for a lot of people. Now, we are talking about young women after all. I want to show you something even bigger here. Okay? Look at this. On the top line, the purple line, it's women with POTS. On the blue line, it's men with POTS. And notice in 2021, boom, male rates went up. We're at triple the rate pre-2021. We're talking pre-COVID. Males have 3 times the rise. But look at in 2021, what has happened to women's rates now, right, is 6 times higher than pre-COVID. So women are disproportionately affected by POTS, dysautonomia, and long haul, and young women at this. So today, what I want to do is I want to introduce our panel without further ado. We're going to have Shelby. Go ahead, Shelby. Let's bring Shelby on. Let's add Kim on. Shelby, let's have you give a quick introduction.
Hi, I'm Shelby. I am 23 years old. I first had symptoms for POTS a little before I turned 16 years old. So I was a junior in high school. It was literally my second week of school. And I've had it ever since. It took me 8-9 months to get a diagnosis for POTS, which then felt like a long time. I can't imagine waiting 5 or 6 years. And I've struggled with it ever since. I took like 2-3 different kinds of medicines. Nothing worked. They told me I was crazy. They sent me to a psychologist, medicines, everything. Felt like a zombie. Nothing was helping until I found Dr. Maggie. And now I'm living independently. I'm working my dream job. I'm a kindergarten teacher. And my goal is to live independently in my own apartment because I've depended on my mom ever since. God bless her. And now I'm able to do everything that I didn't know if I'd be able to do for a long time.
Perfect. Thank you. And then Kim?
Hi, I'm Kim. I was first started showing POTS symptoms in 2019, but I was considered long haul COVID. It wasn't until after COVID that I got really, really sick and debilitating. But prior to that, I did have cardiac workup and I was dismissed by doctors as it's just anxiety. There's nothing to worry about. Your palpitations are just nothing to worry about. After COVID, I was so sick that when I met Dr. Maggie, I was wheelchair bound. I couldn't stand 10 minutes to go to the grocery store. I was scared I was going to lose my job. I thought I was going to lose my house. I thought I was going to have to move back in with my parents. She turned it around and I'm back. I'm not quite, I used to be a marathon runner. I'm not quite there yet, but, I've been to yoga class. I'm at the gym again and doing great with Dr. Maggie's help.
And I'm just going to do a quick show of hands. Something common I'm hearing right now in Shelby and Kim's story is psychiatric diagnoses. And most people never get the diagnosis, are misdiagnosed, or worse yet, they're diagnosed with a psychiatric condition. In one study, 76% of people who were later diagnosed with POTS were previously diagnosed with a psychological condition that they never had before in their lives. If that's you, type it in chat. I really want to get some feedback on chat right now.